Good morning, and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church in Columbia, South Carolina, where we're part of the ELCA. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. I'm one of those weird people who actually listens to the words of songs on the radio. And because I do, I'm going to introduce this episode of Pastor Gary Live in a way I never expected to, with a song by Michael Jackson. I even did a little exploration of Michael Jackson's faith, and he had been raised a Jehovah's Witness. But toward the end of his life, he clearly expressed strong interest in Christianity. Perhaps that's reflected in his song, Man in the Mirror. Pay attention to these excerpted lyrics of the song. I'm going to make a change for once in my life. It's going to feel real good, going to make a difference, going to make it right. As I turn up the collar on my favorite winter coat, this wind is blowing my mind. I see the kids in the street with not enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their needs? I've been a victim of a selfish kind of love. It's time that I realize that there are some with no home, not a nickel to loan. Could it be really me pretending that they're not alone? I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, and no message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change. This is a powerful reflection on how callous we are, how we live without self-examination, that a change in our world needs to happen, and that it starts with us. The biblical book of Amos says much the same thing. This week we are making our way through the small Old Testament book of prophecy by Amos. And to tell you the truth, Amos can be harsh, and he doesn't mince words. Instead, he rather pointedly tells it like it is to the people of his day and to us. Beginning in his third chapter, Amos moves to an important theme, that God rejects worship that is disconnected from justice, righteousness, and compassion. Let's begin by defining at least one of those words, and that word is justice. In our world today, we tend to think of justice in terms of crime and punishment. We bring criminals to justice by putting them in jail, say. But when the prophets speak of justice, and just about any time the Bible speaks of justice, it's more about a reordering of society and doing what God thinks is right. It means standing up for the poor and outcast, lifting up those on the margins of society, bringing down the powerful and wealthy, and living in a fair and equitable society. We may not be comfortable with the Bible's idea of justice, of needing to live with less that others might share in more. But as uncomfortable as that makes us, we can't ignore that that's how the Bible speaks and what it calls us to do. Through Amos, again in very pointed speech, God exposes oppression of the poor, exploitation in the marketplace, corrupt courts, and luxury built on injustice. It's not just that we do it ourselves, but we have created systems in society that perpetuate these abuses. And then things get worse. These things, Amos says, reflect how far from God our hearts are. It's a devastating part. Amos speaks for God, saying, I despise your festivals, and I take no delight in your solemn assemblies. Take away from me the noise of your songs. I will not listen to the melody of your harps. Amos's point: until you walk the walk of faith, your words of faith are empty, have no meaning, and turn my stomach. Perhaps let me put it in terms that better apply to us. You can gather for Christmas Eve with your candles and music, but I will not be there among you or listen to you as long as you turn away refugees, ignore the homeless in your towns, let the poor languish all around you, and overlook those who are forgotten. Don't come to me with your empty words unfilled by compassion, care, and justice lived out for your neighbor. Have I mentioned that Amos can be harsh and pointed? Indeed. But Amos can also speak a powerful truth that we today need to hear. God is not impressed by beautiful music, large offerings, full sanctuaries, or religious activity. God is moved by justice, mercy, integrity, compassion, and faithfulness. In fact, Amos describes God as looking at us in judgment, not in grace. The most famous line in the book is found in this section. Let justice roll down like waters and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream. I suspect we need to be fearful lest we drown in those waters. The thing is, the reason God speaks so harshly to us is also expressed. You only have I known of all the families of the earth. We are God's people, and that is a special privilege. It's also a special responsibility to live out God's ways. Too often we bask in the privilege part and ignore the responsibility part. God desires worship that flows into justice and equity, into love and compassion. A change is needed. Let's start with the one we see in the mirror. Thanks for sharing these moments with me, and remember to let this day belong to God.